intelligence is about being honest, being aware of one's own feeling, being aware of others' feeling, and about being smart with one's emotion. Hence, emotional intelligence is concerned with understanding of oneself and others, relating to people and adapting to and coping with the immediate surroundings, and addresses the emotional, personal, social, survival dimensions of intelligence. There is a relationship between emotions and the brain. Could get little technical how the brain works, but let's try to understand it in little detail. The old school or the conventional view of neuroscientists about the process through which the brain processes information is that the sensory information is first passed to mammalian part of the brain called thalamus. The sensory information is then passed from the thalamus to the visual cortex. The visual cortex processes this information by comparing it with an individual world model. The individual then eventually identifies the object he sees or experiences based on his world model. Then the signals are sent to the limbic brain. Further commands are then set to the rest of the body to produce appropriate behavior. However, a fundamental change happens to this conventional view of relation between our brain and emotion through the great research work carried out by Joseph Ledoux, a neuroscientist at the New York University. Daniel Goleman further carried out research and discovered the role of the part of the brain known as amygdala in our behavior. Goleman explained the role of amygdala in his bestseller books Emotional Intelligence and Working with Emotional Intelligence. The modern view of how the brain processes information is also being explained. Right? We found that there are smaller bundles of neurons connecting the thalamus to amygdala. Hence, the small bundle of neurons form a small pathway that allows amygdala to receive a selection of sensory information even before the information is sent to the visual cortex for further processing. So the amygdala can receive information and formulate a quick response where much before and quickly the rest of the brain has processed the situation and has delivered its appropriate response. This modern view of working on the brain with our emotions can explain our flight to, or in our fight to flight behavior, what we call. People can formulate quick emotional reactions through the amygdala to novel situations. So the importance of emotions in human. Many researchers, includes Darwin, have carried out several meaningful studies on human emotions. Darwin proposed the human emotions, or simply emotions, play an important role in human life. Simple emotions, basically. Emotions serve a biological purpose as they signal to us when there is something wrong or when our needs are not getting met. Right. Hence, a person would feel a negative emotion when his needs are not met or not satisfied. There are various types of negative emotions that a person may feel, such as fear, resentment, anger, frustration, disappointment, depression, and other things. Whenever we do not get what we need is where these negative emotions automatically erupt. That's exactly how this entire thing works. Thus, emotions are the manners in which our body communicates and talks to us. So a person's ability to deal with his own emotions may have several different kinds of social, mental, and even physical consequences. So it is crucial that a person should never ignore his emotions and should learn to deal with them. Many a times it so happens we ignore it, right? When we feel something, we feel scared about something, we feel happy about something, we feel nervous about something. We ignore. It is crucial that we do not ignore any of our emotions, and we should learn to deal with them, because once you learn to deal with them, you would understand how emotional intelligence works for you to get the results what you are looking for. So when a person tends to ignore his emotions for long, it may lead to unhappiness, depression, physical deterioration, or health, in extreme cases even death. So it's very important for us not to ignore any of the emotions for a longer time. Emotional intelligence plays a key role in learning to deal with our emotions. Now here you would learn how do I ensure to understand it, use it, and learn to deal with our own emotions. A person with high level of EQ has a natural gift of handling, expressing, and dealing with his emotions. Right? You would have seen it in many places where you find someone is high with his EQ, can deal situations effortlessly. Right? It has been found that people with high level of emotional intelligence are healthier, happier, and enjoy better relationships with others apart from being successful in their own careers. Now this is very, very evident in many people, right? People who know how to manage the emotions, because emotions play such an important role, and we tend not to be that much focused towards it, or that much care we take towards it. If you understand that well, and if you learn how to manage these emotions, you would be in a position to lead much healthier and a happier life, right? You could work, you could be very, very successful. Your relationship will be much better than any other way. Now when we understand emotions is required, emotional intelligence is very much required to manage these emotions. Now I try to understand how do we boost the same, right? One of the major part is when we say self-confidence, how do we boost, right? What are the ways to boost those things? When I say self-confidence and self-awareness, right? These are the things that we should understand in little detail. Self-confidence is the belief that you can successfully perform a desired behavior. Self-confidence can be built by never getting negative about yourself. It's crucial to have that kind of a confidence. When we say that on myself I have a confidence that I can do this work, I can finish this work, this shouldn't come out of an ego or I will just do it kind of an attitude, but it should come out of I know what it is, I know how things will work, I have worked towards it, and I can get to there. That's exactly how you would work towards building your self-confidence. There are various types of self-confidence. One of them is called as optimal. A realistic sense of what you are accomplishing and realistic goals playing within yourselves are basically the optimal self-confidence. There is something also called as diffident. Lacking confidence, fear of failure, high degree of self-doubt, use ego protective behaviors. These are all diffident kind of self-confidence. Then there is a third one called as false confidence. Unfounded confidence in abilities, cocky or arrogant. This can also be an act to cover up the diffident attitude, right? When we have this diffident attitude and we want to cover up, you come up with something called as false confidence. The various ways, right? I was talking about how we could boost the self-confidence. Could be one, successful performance. The second one is vicarious experiences, verbal persuasion, and emotional arousal are these four ways how you can build or boost self-confidence. Let's look each one in little detail. When I say successful performance, the easiest way to boost your self-confidence is by taking up tasks that you can complete successfully. Just like an athlete needs to be successful and set realistic goals, you should also set realistic and achievable goals. When you set a task and when you achieve that, right, and you see your performance is successful, that's exactly how you build towards this. As you become successful at completing your set goals, you raise your self-confidence level with each success or goals achieved, right? And it's a continuous process. You set a goal, you achieve the goal, you succeed there, you feel good about it, your self-confidence goes to a next level, and then you pick another goal, and that's exactly how successful performance works. The second one I was talking about, vicarious experiences. These are, as I said, experienced in imaginations through the feeling and actions of other persons. You can gain from the experience and skills of others by watching and learning, right? You can also learn from someone who is successful in your field, right? This is known as participatory modeling. This can also be accomplished through many different ways, like for example watching a video. Many a times you would have seen a speaker speaks, a motivational speaker speaks, or any speaker on a particular subject speaks, and you watch and you learn from them, and then you imbibe those things. You get confidence. Acha, okay, this is exactly how this is done. Let me also work towards it. So you want to be a cook, you see different cooking shows, you see how different cooks perform, and then you also experiment, and then you increase your confidence how you're working. Now that's exactly this particular model talks about. The next one is called as verbal persuasion. Verbal persuasion is also very, very critical, and many a times we do, sometimes in a positive way and sometimes in a very, very negative way, or most times in a negative way. Let's understand it a little more detail. One of the best way actually to boost your self-confidence is by giving yourself a pep talk. Verbal persuasion is applied by staying positive through verbal affirmations. You can make a habit of giving yourself a positive self-talk. First thing in the morning by looking in the mirror, as well as at the night before you go sleep. It works pretty nice. When I say self-talk, when you tell your own self, right, to start with, until we get to a level where we manage our emotions, we need to do this little pep talk to ourselves, saying, yes, I can do it. I'm going to have a good day. I'm going to sort it out. I'm going to solve this. I'm going to see this problem as where I will be performing my best. When you do that little self-talk is when things really work. That's basically verbal persuasion is all about. The next one is emotional arousal. You should always try to remain on an emotional high. Avoid getting negative and feeling emotionally low. Feeling of emotionally low and negative are pretty attractive in a way. They come to you very faster than feeling of positive and emotional high. You need to be very, very mindful to ensure pick the positive and leave the, drop the negative. Try to be emotionally ready and optimally aroused. Too many stressors, right, can interfere with your self-confidence level and hamper your self-image. So you got to be very, very careful to ensure you allow those positive vibes, those positive emotions flow through rather than the negative one that touches you. Now let us understand self-awareness and how to practice the same. Be aware of your emotional states. So at any point of time, everyone are going through few emotional states. I do not know how much of attention you are able to pay on your own self to understand what emotional state are you at. Right? The moment you look at what emotional state are you at, you would have a chance to work on it. You would have a chance to change to the required, or the willing or the wanting emotional state that you wanted to reach. It will take only that much time. The problem is we are not aware of our own self at any point of time. Work towards being aware. Practice and learn to tune in and tune out to your own emotions, right? This is an art, it's an easy thing to learn. Basically, you understand, okay, I'll tune into a particular emotion or tune out of a particular emotion as and when needed. Learn to control your emotions and responses in stressful situations. Normally, when situations are stressful, we just lose the control completely, and then we go with the flow, whatever happens. But the moment you learn slowly to control your emotion during these stressful situations, you will be in a position to understand and manage things much better. Emotionally, you will be out of the issues. Identify the importance of emotions even in technical fields. Right? There would be different emotions in technical fields. You need to identify what and how needs to be worked on. Now, when I say self-management means managing one's internal states, impulses and resources. Self-management competencies could be like emotional self-control, transparency, adaptability, achievement orientation, initiative, optimism. Let us understand what actually these words actually mean to us, right? These competencies means to us. When I say emotional self-control means keeping disruptive emotions and impulses under control. When I say transparency means displaying honesty, integrity and trustworthiness and acting congruently with one's values. Adaptability means demonstrating flexibility in adapting to changing situations or overcoming obstacles. Achievement orientation means having the drive to improve performance to meet inner standards of excellence and striving to improve a standard of excellence. Initiatives Initiative means being ready to act and to seize on opportunities. Hence, it is the readiness of acts on all opportunities. Optimism. Optimism means seeing the upside of events and the persistence in pursuing goals despite obstacles and setback. Right. Now it's pretty interesting and important for us to work towards the optimism piece. Now let me also quickly tell you how to increase your optimism. Write down a list of characteristics that you will need to display in order to reach your goals and be optimistic. They can be like hardworking, discipline, determination, inquisitive, innovativeness, taking initiatives. Claim these characteristics by stating each of them for yourself in an affirmative. Now leave your affirmation, right? Once you have put it, leave that. Leave your affirmation by realize that you are already possess the qualities you desire. Give power to your affirmations by repeating it over and over until it becomes familiar to you as your name. Say your affirmations while looking at yourself in the mirror. Be vigilant about other words used to describe yourself. Use your affirmations when life tests you. How do you practice self-management? You practice self-management by always being responsible for your emotional response. You could also try to learn from stressful situations. Aim to turn stressful situation into one that you are challenging. Identify and learn to manage your own emotional triggers. Accept responsibilities of your own emotional behavior. Social competencies of emotional intelligence basically includes two things. One, social awareness. The second one is relationship management. Social awareness means the awareness of others' feelings, needs and concerns. Social awareness competencies are empathy, organizational awareness, service orientation. When I'm saying empathy basically means sensing others' emotion, understanding their perspective and taking active interest to their concerns. Hence, empathy basically means fellow feeling, understanding and entering into another's feeling, how well that could be managed. When I say organizational awareness, this means understanding and reading the current decision networks and politics at the organizational level. It means understanding groups' emotional currents and power relationship. When I say service orientation, this basically means analyzing, organizing and meeting followers, clients and customer needs is basically what service orientation is all about. How do you increase your social awareness? There are various ways, like think other people are important. Notice people, don't compete with people. In fact, know when to correct others. Let us know each one in little more detailed. When I'm talking about, say, think other people are important, the first rule is simply to convince yourself that others are important. So it is natural that you should understand them better and deal with them effectively. When I say notice people, we should notice each and every person. When we notice someone, they feel their importance is being recognized and their morale is boosted. When I say don't compete with people, it means everyone wants to feel important and to feel that others recognize their importance. If you want to make a good impression on others and get to know them better, the most effective way is to let them know we are impressed by them. Know when to correct others. This particularly means, like, don't try to win all the little battles if nothing is involved except the other person's ego. Do not keep correcting everyone all the time. Identify the critical points at which the person needs and has to be corrected. That's all what you need to keep in mind when you need to follow these things. Work towards your emotional intelligence and ensure how well you work towards them.